Welcome back to the studio, and thank you for joining me today as I bring to you another video that is part of my monthly Christmas card inspiration. So for this month I will be using the So Very Merry photopolymer stamp set. All of the images have like a stained glass look to them. And this particular stamp set, like I said, it's standalone. There are no coordinating dies to it, but it does coordinate with the 2 3/8 inch circle punch. And this is currently available in our online exclusive, so it is not in any of our paper publications. So let's get started. So for my first card, I have a piece of crumb cake. This measures 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. I have a piece of real red. This measures 5 1/4 by 4. I have a piece of basic beige. This measures 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And then I have a scrap of basic white. So I'm going to start off with folding and burnishing my card base. And then I'm going to take my, this is basic beige, and I have the stamp that has the greeting that says, "'Tis the season to be jolly." This is in the stamp set. I'm going to bring in my pretty Peacock ink, and I'm going to ink this up. And I'm going to stamp this down here in the lower right-hand corner. Okay, I'll close that up. Okay, then I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to bring in my seal, and I'm going to add some on the back here. And I'm going to adhere that to my piece of real red. So there's just a really small border of the red around this basic beige. Okay, and then I'm going to take this whole piece here, add adhesive, and then I'm going to place this right onto my crumb cake card base. I'm going to center that on there like so. Okay, we'll set that aside. Now for my scrap piece of basic white, I am going to bring in the image that has the Santa Claus on it, and I am going to use my Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I'm going to ink this up really well. I may need to add more black ink to this ink pad, and I see that I just got some on my finger. Okay, then I'm going to take this and stamp this right in the middle, and let me get my chamois here, and let me get this ink off my finger. Okay, let me clean that really quick since I got this open. Okay, so now we're going to color this in. So the color blends that I will be using are my dark and light pretty Peacock. I got everything over here in my little bin here. So I have the dark and the light real red. Let's see, what else we got here? We have my light and dark crumb cake. I have a light smoky slate. And then I have, let's see, I have dark bubble bath. And then I have my light and dark petal pink. So what I'm going to do is I am going to color this image in. Oh, there's one more blend. Almost forgot. I also have my color lifter. We're going to use this to have like a snow effect in our background. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to color this image in, and then I am going to punch it out using my 2 3/8 inch circle punch, and then I will be right back and we will then assemble the card. So enjoy the music. Okay, so you can see when I used the color lifter on it, what it did, it lifted some of that pretty peacock blend, and so now I have what looks like falling snow. So now that we got him all colored in, I'm going to bring in my punch, and I'm going to punch this out. Now I didn't leave myself enough room here. Now what I do need to do is I need to trim a little bit on the bottom here, so I can line this up into my punch. Okay, so I'm just going to center this like so and punch it out. And then I'm going to bring in my dimensionals. Now I have just a little bit on this sheet that I just finished, and I just realized I did not bring over another package of dimensionals, so let me quickly go grab another one out of my drawer. What's nice is that I'm using a microphone. I can step away from where my phone is and you can still hear me very clearly. So here's another sheet, and I got a couple more here on my desk, so that way I have them for my next video. And I'm going to add a few more. On here, since it is a bigger punched out image, I am using a little bit more on the back of this. I'm going to remove these. This was a stamp set that it came out last year in our online exclusives, and when Stampin' Up! Brought it out, the whole idea with this was just to kind of hold off, till our holiday mini catalog came out that year. And so they didn't have intentions of restocking this stamp set. So basically when it sold out, it was sold out and it wouldn't be available anymore. Well, because there was such a high demand for this stamp set, it sold out very, very quickly. So they decided to make more, bring it back, and it's been in our online exclusive still ever since. So I don't know when this will be gone for good. The thing with online exclusives is that sometimes we don't know if something's going to be replenished if it sells out, which you would know that by you just don't see it in the store anymore. If you see that product and it says currently unavailable, then that means it will be back in stock at some point. But again, online exclusives, we just don't know. So this, at the time of me filming this video and posting it September 1st, this stamp set is still available. And again, it's called So Very Merry. So I'm going to take this punched out image and I'm going to place this right here. And now we're going to do a little bit of embellishing on this card. So I'm going to take my Wink of Stella and I'm going to add some just to these white areas here. So basically the fur that's on the pom-pom of his hat and that brim. And then I'm also going to add some that's on his hair and his mustache and his beard. Okay, and then one other bit of embellishment. I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool and also the adhesive back sparkle gems. These are available in our current annual catalog. So I am going to use, I don't have it written on here, I think these are the white gems. So you have black, white, and champagne. So I'm going to add 3 of these white ones, so one of the larger ones and then 2 of the small ones. There's only 2 sizes in this pack. Okay, so there is our first card. On to our second. Okay, so let me bring in the pieces for our next card. So our next card, we are going to be doing a technique called the stained glass technique. So we're going to be doing a little bit of heat embossing along with coloring. So to start off, I have a piece of wild wheat as my card base. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of cherry cobbler. This measures 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have a piece of pretty peacock that measures 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And then I have a scrap of both basic white and a piece of vellum. So I am going to start off with folding and burnishing my card base. What I like about these colors, these are definitely jewel tone colors, and some people don't like wild wheat. Now I think wild wheat is a great color for doing fall projects, but it's one of those colors that just goes really, really well with some of the other colors. So like these darker colors here, it looks really, really good. Now, wild wheat is a current in color, so this will be its last year. So when our annual catalog retires at the end of May, then this color will be going away. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece of cherry cobbler. I'm going to set this aside. Now, on my piece of pretty peacock, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be embossing it using this really large, what is the size of this? It's a 6 by 8.5 inch sized embossing folder. This is the Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder. This will be available in our new holiday mini catalog that will be live to customers on September 4th. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to set this aside because there's some things that I'm going to do where I'm going to speed it up, and this is going to be one of them. So I'm going to set this aside over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this basic white piece. I'm going to set this aside too because I will not be stamping on that. Now on this piece of vellum, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in, this is my Stampin' Pierce mat. I'm going to use this since this is a photopolymer stamp set. I want to make sure that I am going to get a really good stamped image. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing some heat embossing as well. So I have my golden embossing powder. I put this in these little Sistema containers. I just find that it's just easier to do put a couple of jars in here as opposed to just leaving it in the jar. Okay, and then this is the Embossing Additions Toolkit. So in this kit, let me just kind of pull out the things that don't come with the kit. So in here you get this tray, you do get a brush, you get an embossing buddy, and then there's also the reverse locking tweezers that come with this as well. This is currently available in our annual catalog, so I'm going to kind of put that aside. Now these extra little things that I have with it, this is just simply a little plastic hors d'oeuvre spoon that I got from a dollar store. Versamark, now we have in the catalog, we have a full size Versamark pad. This was a little cube that I had found. I believe it was in Tailored Expressions when I got this, because sometimes I like having a smaller little ink pad like we have our ink spots. And then I just have a little piece of Swiffer here if I wanted to wipe away any of the excess embossing buddy powder that I want to get off of my cardstock. So I'm going to start with taking my embossing buddy and I'm going to tap some of this powder onto my vellum. Now what the embossing buddy does, it will remove any static and any of the oils that may be from your fingers. That way the powder will not stick to where we don't want it to stick. We just want it to stick to our stamped image. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in the stamp that has the angel on it. And I'm going to take my Versamark and I'm going to ink this up really well. I want to make sure that I get the entire image. Again, this is just a little cube ink pad of the Versamark. We do sell the full sized. Okay, and then I'm going to take this, almost did next step. I'm going to stamp this right here on my vellum. I'm going to press that down. Now, because photopolymer does not have the foam cushion like our red rubber stamps, by placing a foam pad underneath it, it'll give you a better stamped image when you're using these photopolymer stamps. Okay, so now I'm going to remove that and I'm going to bring in my gold embossing powder. Now I really should be doing this in the tray, but I'm going to live dangerously here and I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to take my powder, put on it. Now when I do my powder, when I do my embossing, I like to cover it at least 2 times to make sure that I got my powder covering the entire image. Okay, so that looks good. So now I'm going to take this and close it up so we do not have powder all over the place. And I will move that out of the way. Now I'm going to take this, get this out of my way too, since we don't need it anymore. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my heat tool and I'm going to heat emboss this. And what I'm going to do to hold on to this so I don't burn my fingers, I'm going to bring in this this reverse locking tweezers that come with that kit. And when I go to heat this, I'm going to heat it from underneath. This way it won't blow away. Let me try and get this where you can actually see it. And you can see that it's melting really, really quick. Okay, and then just a quick on the top, and there we go. That was really quick. So now I'm going to let this cool just a little bit. Now, to do the stained glass technique, now when you stamp this and you do the embossing on it, we're going to actually color this vellum in from the back side rather than the front. So this is cooled off now, so I will flip it over, and this is how I'm going to color it in. So for this, the colors that I'm going to use, now when I did my sample, I had done, both the dark and the light shades of the blends, but I found that you really didn't see the difference in, the variegation, and I really wanted, the color to be kind of bold. So I'm going to use my dark Pretty Peacock, dark Petal Pink, dark Crumb Cake, dark Wild Wheat, and dark Cherry Cobbler to color this in. And then once I color this in, I will come, two things I'm going to do. Excuse me, I apologize. Two things that I'm going to do in this part where I'm going to speed up. I'm going to color this in, and then I'm also going to run this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I will be right back. Okay, so I wanted to go over this twice, so I had a much bolder color, so that's why I had to let the first layer kind of dry a little bit, so then that way the ink wasn't actually pulling up. Now, this is what it looks like on this side. So to really make these colors pop a little bit more, it will get adhered onto this piece of basic white. But before I do the next step, I'm going to take my heat tool and I'm going to put it on the low setting, and I want to make sure that my ink is dry. So I don't want to hold this heat on one spot for a long time. And the reason why is because I don't want to be really remelting my embossing powder on the other side. Okay, I think that's good. And we'll set this aside so it cools. Okay, just cool this off a little bit. Okay, and so there is our stained glass effect. So for my next part here, I'm going to be adding some glue dots. And I'm going to place these glue dots in areas where you're not really going to see them when I adhere that to that piece of basic white. So these glue dots that I have on this sheet, these come from a past paper pumpkin kit. Now what I'm going to do with these, you see these little lines that are here that are along the outer edge of this? I'm going to place them like right over that line, but I'm not doing it on every one. I'm going to kind of skip a couple. I just want enough to where this is going to adhere to that piece of basic white. And then I'm going to place another one somewhat like in the middle here where you're not really going to see it once it's adhered. So I'm going to add one right here. And again, I'm not putting it on every one of them. I'm going to kind of like skip one or two. Now, you can kind of do the same thing with using an acetate sheet. And usually that's done where you stamp and then you color in with the blends. So with that, because the way an acetate sheet is, you would want to use your StazOn ink rather than your Memento ink pad, because the StazOn is more of a permanent ink. Now, when it comes to coloring it in, you can use your blends, but you would want to color on the back as well, because the StazOn ink and the alcohol markers will not work well together. They will actually bleed together if you do that. Okay, so I have my glue dots down on here, and now I'm going to remove the paper backing off of these. This. Okay. Then I'm going to bring in my basic white piece, and I am going to adhere this down like so. And you can see you really cannot see those blue dots at all. Now I'm going to trim this vellum just a little bit because I know when I go to put it in my punch, it's not going to come down low enough, so I'm going to trim that off. Okay, and I'm bringing my punch again, and we'll line this up like so. Punch it out, and isn't that pretty? Okay, so we'll get rid of that. Then I'm going to bring in my dimensionals. Oops, where's the sheet that I started? There it is. And I'm going to add 5 onto this. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. Now, before I do something with that, I'm going to take this piece that I had embossed, and I'm going to bring in my seal. Now, when you're adding the seal onto a piece of cardstock that's been embossed, you don't want to press hard, because what it'll do, it'll tear your cardstock. So just like a gentle touch with it. Okay, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to center this on my layer of cherry cobbler. Okay, and then add more adhesive. And I'm going to add this to my wild wheat card base, like so. And then I'm going to take my angel and I'm going to add her right here in the middle, like so. And then I'm going to bring in my Wink of Stella, And I'm going to add it to the wings and her dress. So this is September, and what I do is what I had planned at the beginning of the year. I have a monthly in-person Christmas card club, and what that is, those of you that are local to me who have a desire to make your Christmas cards throughout the year rather than waiting until, it hits closer to December, we gather together here at my studio, and typically it's the first Saturday of each month. So today is the first, so I believe it would be the 6th that we would meet. Again, it's always on a Saturday, and it goes from like about 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the concept with that is the stamp set. I have a lot of different Christmas stamp sets, and you are welcome to use them to create your own cards. The products, they do stay here at my studio. So all you would need to provide is the cardstock, the paper, and the embellishments that you would want to put on your card. And you just, do a few of them throughout, each month. And that way, when December rolls around, you have all of your cards done. Now, I did pause it for July and August. There really wasn't much response in people coming to do their Christmas cards. And I figured I'd start it up again this month in September because our new holiday mini catalog will be going live. So you're seeing this, well, when this is getting posted onto YouTube. It'll be September 1st. Now, let me back that up a little bit. I'm recording it before September 1st, but it's actually posting on the 1st. So this catalog here is our new September through December mini catalog. This will be going live on September 4th. So I decided that since this catalog was going live, that I would also start up my monthly in-person Christmas card club classes again. Now, in addition to that catalog, there is also more products. So if you're more into doing scrapbooking, actually, let me talk a little bit more about this in just a moment. Let me actually get the card done. We only have one more thing left to do, and that's to add some of these sparkle gems. So I'm going to take these champagne ones. These are the ones, they're the closest to it being gold. So I'm going to add 3 of these to my card. Okay. So then there is the second card. Let me bring in the first card that we did. So we did the one with the Santa Claus and one with the angel. And so if you like these cards, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It does help me in not only growing this channel, but it also helps me in building my Stampin' Up! Business as well. So with that, let me quickly talk about this catalog and this brochure really quick. So again, this is our new holiday mini catalog. This starts on September 4th and it goes through January 6th of next year. So if you are not currently working with a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like a copy of this catalog, in the description is my email address. Just simply send me an email with your full name and your first and last name. You don't need your middle name. but your full mailing address, so that way I can get one out in the mail to you. Now, if you need the annual catalog as well, let me know and I'll send them both out to you. Now, the scrapbooking brochure, this will also go live on September 4th. Now, this is strictly like all scrapbooking type of stuff. Now, that catalog, I cannot open up that catalog to show you what's inside of it. But my understanding is that this brochure, now it's digital, that's why I printed it out. It's not in paper form, but you do have, the kits, you can get the kits for doing 2-page layouts, or probably more than 2-page layouts. We had Stampin' Up had, close to my heart, which was a direct selling company that was more into scrapbooking, traditional scrapbooking. They had closed their doors, and Stampin' Up had accepted or taken on their makers. You know, they're called makers. We're demonstrators. And now Stampin' Up also acquired some of the type of products that Close to My Heart has. So now Stampin' Up wants to go back to offering more traditional 12 by 12 scrapbooking products and papers and things like that. So now so this couldn't make it into the catalog. So some of the items that are in here, some of the kits that are in here do coordinate with a couple of the suites that are in this annual catalog, in this mini catalog. Boy, I can't talk. So I will figure out a way on how to link this to where you can see this, or you can go to the Stampin' Up website and you'll be able to see what's in here. Now, come our next annual catalog, my understanding is that all the scrapbooking stuff will then be in it. So our next mini catalog that goes from January to April, there'll be another digital download for the scrapbooking stuff, because we work ahead by like 18 months. So other than that, also in the description of the video, there is a link if you would like to sign up for my newsletter. I send that out typically around the beginning of the month. This time will be around the 4th, I believe, because there are a couple of, there's going to be 2 new kits that will be in our online store, and I would like to include those into the newsletter, plus my video schedule for the whole month of September. I will list the products that I am using for my Throwback Thursdays and my Friday Night Lives, and also the paper pumpkin kit. And September doesn't really have a holiday, a crafting holiday. We do have Labor Day, but so if I had a holiday video, I would put that in there too. It just shows what products that I'll be using. So again, everyone, I will be going live tomorrow night on Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be featuring the Unbounded Beauty suite of products that's currently in our annual catalog. And I hope you can join me. That'll be 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so with that, everyone, have a good one, and I will see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.